For most men, the only unconditional love they will ever receive is from their parents. Not saying all men. Of course, some are misfortunate enough to have shitty parents. But for most men, the only people that will ever love them unconditionally are their parents. In the immortal words of Chris Rock, only women, children and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are loved under the condition they provide something. Edit. I think y'all are confused about what this post means. I am not saying that women are loved unconditionally. That just happens to be part of Chris Rock's quote. What I do mean is that women are frequently loved for who they are, not for what they can provide. For instance, many men love their women because of their body or curves, etc. That BFOY is part of her, so that love is for her. On the other hand, many men are loved for what they provide. It can be money, social status, humor, emotional understanding, etc. The pattern I have seen is that men are almost never loved just for who they are, but rather loved for what they can do or provide. You guys get unconditional love from your parents? Hollywood and literature has filled our heads with the misconception that true love is unconditional. It is absolutely not. Just because you fall in love with someone and start loving them, you are not required to keep loving them if they begin to treat you like shit and make you feel like shit. Love is conditional. If you expect someone to love you no matter what, you are in for more than a few disappointments. Did you know that pretty children receive more attentions and love than ugly ones? That cute puppies are more likely to be adopted, and once they become older they are more likely to be abandoned? That ugly women are more likely to be left alone, and once they become old they are pretty much ignored by most men? No one is loved unconditionally. The conditions are simply different. Incel alert. I wouldn't get my life and love advice from a guy who cheats on his wife and ruined his own marriage. What do you even mean by this claim? What is unconditional love to you? And what's your proof that men don't get unconditional love compared to others? I love my husband dearly, but if he cheated on me, hurt one of the kids, or did something equally heinous, he'd be gone in a heartbeat. And it goes both ways. He adores me, but if I cheated on him, hurt one of the kids, or did something equally heinous, he'd kick me to the curb. Women aren't some magically beloved creatures with wild birds landing on our hands and angels singing wherever we go. Sheesh. For most people, the only unconditional love they will ever receive is from their parents. FTFY. And to be frank, this is how it should be. Mature, adult love should absolutely be conditional on mutual respect, trust, communication. If you unconditionally love another adult, it's more likely just infatuation or obsession. Don't you know that a man being rich is like a woman being pretty? Per Marilyn Monroe. Would you really love a woman with nothing positive to offer? Because I doubt you would. And women do get unconditional love? Is that why men are more likely to leave their female partners when she is terminally ill? But also, love from parents isn't unconditional in a lot of cases. Although I would almost agree that the love boys and men get from their parents is closer to unconditional than the love women and girls get from them. People really out here acting like they never met an absolute deadbeat dude with a devoted girlfriend. Out here acting like you haven't met dozens of them. Out here acting like you don't know couples where the woman is the breadwinner. Jesus. Men are loved under the condition they provide something. Then my girlfriend is doing something wrong the times she stuck with me during periods of unemployment or when work goes quiet. Lol. How do women receive unconditional love? Tears of joy. And hate to break it to you, parents' love isn't always unconditional. Chris Rock cheated on his wife. So maybe you shouldn't quote him as the love philosopher. Edit OP has been exposed by his post history as a misogynist. Only women, children and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are loved under the condition they provide something. This is some incel nonsense. Yeah. As a woman, I don't think I have ever been unconditionally loved. I was loved for youthfulness. For what I bring to the table both domestically and financially. A couple of my relationships ended when I got sick. And it is unfortunate statistics then women are left by their partners because of sickness in far greater numbers than men. The unconditional love is universally rare experience. That is why we love stories about it. Wait, since when are women receiving unconditional love? Romantic love should never be unconditional. There are conditions. The conditions are you respect your partner. You don't abuse your partner. You don't cheat on your partner. Etc. Someone shouldn't have to love you if you treat them like shit. Woman shrugging medium light skin tone. I do not agree with your opinion. That's the reason why men walk out on women the moment they knock em up. Because he loves her unconditionally? Oh, yes. Chris Rock, the great scholar and philosopher. Dude, come on. Even parental love isn't unconditional. Men do suffer from a lack of affection in their friendships. That doesn't mean women get unconditional love just like that. Thinking like that breeds resentment and despair. Affectionate relationships should be nurtured. It doesn't just fall from the sky. If you feel lonely, try to understand why friendships between women are usually more affectionate. It has nothing to do with unconditionality, and all to do with sharing, caring and nurturing a growing relationship. Humans don't love unconditionally. Being a certain gender or age doesn't mean you get unconditional love. Men don't love their romantic interests and friends unconditionally, so why expect to receive it? I don't think anyone is loved unconditionally. This is only an unpopular opinion because most people wouldn't ever have an opinion on it. Since it makes no sense, you know? I think men are more likely to stray from romantic relationships than women are anyways. I'd say unconditional love comes from family, including if you have kids. But it's really unconditional for most relationships are never unconditional and either are. Friendships doesn't matter if what gender or sex you are. Men don't need love, they need respect, quoting every single male red pill podcaster ever. Unconditional love should always be reserved for a parent-child relationship. Every romantic relationship has conditions. Op clearly is not a woman. Yeah, unconditional love is not something we typically receive either. At least not from men. From other women and children. Sure, possibly. But even then I would argue that it isn't exactly unconditional. And unconditional is a flawed concept to begin with. It is an excuse for bad behavior in most cases. If you don't treat people with respect, and they shun you, that's on you, regardless of sex, gender. A lot of women, children, and dogs would disagree with Chris Rock. Do friends not count? Are just neck beard things. Lol, women are loved unconditionally. That's just a crapload of BS. No one is loved unconditionally, not even children and dogs. Your edit just makes it worse. You live in an alternate reality made of your own bias. Women loved for their body and curves? That's not loving a woman for who she is, champ. That's objectifying her. And loving her body parts. FFs. Loving a man's humor and emotional understating is loving him for who he is. What you've shown is you have no understanding of love at all. You reduced women to body parts while literally writing what men are while insisting otherwise. And once again another opinion that is unpopular because it is gender-based. Wake up, OP, women aren't luckier.